3D objects. Description, how to import them to Reacts, how to add them to a session, and how to manipulate them. 3D objects, what they are, and how to import them to Reacts. One of the unique features of the Reacts platform is that it allows you to add digital 3D objects that can be superimposed over any feeds in the collaborative canvas. This allows you to add elements of augmented reality to your React sessions. A few demo 3D objects have been included in the 3D objects category of the Reacts library in a folder named Demo 3D Assets. You'll be able to add these 3D assets to your quick picks and then incorporate them to any session and add them to your scenes. .3D objects can be created by graphic artists and can also be imported from various sources, including online digital stores. In order to be compatible with the Reacts platform, the 3D object file must be in .obj format. In order to appear correctly in the Reacts platform in terms of size, orientation, and proportion, the OBJ file first needs to be adequately processed before it is imported in Reacts. Anybody having experience with 3D modeling software should be able to adequately process .obj files in order to make them Reacts compatible. Importing your own 3D objects to Reacts is easy, as long as they are in the correct format and adequately processed before importing them to the Reacts platform. Specific guidelines describing the step-by-step process to create import-ready .obj objects for Reacts is provided in the Help section of the platform. The Help section can be found in the upper right portion of most Reacts interfaces. Click on the Help icon and open the Guidelines to make 3D Objects Reacts Ready document. Although results may slightly vary from one software to another, the 3D modeling software that we have tested have given very good results. How to add 3D objects to a session and how to manipulate them. To add a 3D object to your library and subsequently to a Reacts session, follow the same process as previously described for other assets. The important thing will be to make sure that the 3D object is Reacts ready before importing it to your library, as just explained. Once a 3D object has been imported to your library, you just need to add it to your 3D Quick Picks. Once the 3D object is in your Quick Picks area, you'll be able to add it to any scene by simply dragging and dropping it into the scene, as you would with images or videos. Note that when added to a scene, the 3D object will always behave as an asset and never as a background, unlike what was described for images and videos. Once dropped in the scene, the 3D object will appear over the scene content at the location where it is dropped. When selected, the 3D object can be moved freely in the window by clicking on it and moving the mouse to the desired location. The 3D object can also be resized by moving the mouse scroll wheel forward and back, and can be rotated by positioning the mouse near one of its four corners until a double-headed curved arrow appears, then left-clicking and moving the mouse to rotate the asset. The 3D object can also be rotated in all three dimensions. There are two ways to do this. First, make sure the object is selected by left-clicking it. Small black squares will appear at the four corners of the object when it is selected. Then, press and hold the Control key on your keyboard and left-click and hold with the mouse. While holding the Control key down and left-clicking, move the mouse around and you will see the 3D object move in the same direction. The first time you do this, you may find it difficult to be precise with the mouse control. Don't worry, you will get comfortable with it in no time. The second way that can be used to move the 3D objects in space is by first selecting the 3D object and then right-clicking on it. As for the other assets described previously, you will see the various options available for that asset in the right-click menu. Choose the first option named 3D Controls. This will open the Advanced Tools panel. At the bottom of the panel, You will find a 3D Controls section that includes controls for rotating the object along the X, Y, and Z axes. To move the 3D object along any of the 3D axes, just select the desired axis and move the scrubber left or right to obtain the exact movement desired. You can return the object to its default position at any time by clicking on the Reset button. The other options available when right-clicking on 3D objects are similar to those described for other assets.